fourth episode already of the soundtrack of piano. Now, I have a very special guest for a number of reasons, which I will not tell you right now. I think you will draw your own conclusions at the end of this conversation. Probably his life experiences do not represent who he actually is. And I don't know how to portray him properly. I think he might be able to portray himself properly. I also don't know, because it's pretty difficult. I have to say, he is one of the people who opened my eyes when I first met him in 2019, and all through the big pandemic that started in 2020. He opened my eyes to a world of depth inside of art that was there. It was a seed in me, but it hadn't grown until then. And I have to say that it's thanks to him that happened, or that seed started to grow, which is the most difficult thing. Once the seed starts to grow, it just needs water to keep growing. So that's what he actually did. And that's amazing, because he wouldn't call himself a musician. I wouldn't even call him a musician. He could be called a piano maker. Let's put it this way. He will tell everyone in a few seconds what that means though. His name is Sujatri Reisinger. And I have to say to him, thank you for being here with me today, because as I said, it's very special for me, and I want the world to know how special he is.
Thank you for this warm welcome, and you set the bar pretty high. Now I have to find words to describe or define what you mentioned. I'm originally from Hungary, and I was introduced to piano restoration, I don't know, 40 years, 50 long. And there was always a keenness to look toward excellence, and also I have more of an engineering background, so when I see things I look at them more like how they function, including pianists. I look at them as how they function, how they think, how they move, and then it's quite logical for an engineer to envision an object that corresponds with a human being whose activity is being a pianist. So just a few sentences about my piano background.
Yes.
That I think people don't know that the last 130 years the whole piano industry had a big fall, and it started with that the piano was perfected by 1882. Many people don't know that let's say that Steinway design was already perfected in 1882, and no improvement since. So when you have a product that there is no more money for research and development and perfecting another one, a new one, the better one, then it becomes a product of a manufacturing product, and a factory has a very different sentiment toward a product than, for example, I don't want to say this one, but let's say Erard or Pleyel themselves, who were very passionate about their name, their brand, and Chopin and Liszt advised them. So that was an alive, exciting time, and everybody wanted to explore and go to the highest. Now, once you perfect this, and it becomes an careful assembly line product, there is no Stradivarius along the way, along the manufacturing, to say that this wood is not singing, and that. And so at the end, when people put all this together, it is what it is. It's not so there is no such a thing as controlling controlling the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So no compromise along the way, but because the outcome has to be this. And so that's impossible to do in a factory. So then so we went through the whole evolution of piano making, the French school, the Austrian, the Broadwood, the clavichord, and so if you're an engineer, you look at it, how they solve certain problems and what were their limitations. So there's a lot of information that one learns, and by doing so, I pretty much had a good idea what is it that a pianist actually looks for. Not a pianist of our time, a pianist, a pianist, as an ideal pianist. What is it that they are looking for? And definitely to be able to express themselves in their own language, meaning that so they are able to express their emotions and feelings and thoughts through sound waves that are near them,
Mm-hmm.
that are human. And the miracle, and so amazingly, up to the 1900, this was controlled by the greatest musicians, because they had an interest on the stage. So they went out to the manufacturer, to every one of them, and gave their feedback. If, we can go back to the time when Liszt had 3 pianos on stage, because he kept breaking them, they were so delicate. And now, so what's the goal for all the piano makers? Build one that Liszt cannot break. And so there were many such things. I think pianists should look into the evolution. They would learn a lot. For example, also nobody knows, until up to the point when Carnegie Hall opened, the best pianos were the Erhard and Playa.
Yes.
And that's approved by Chopin and Liszt and many others. Why were they special? Because they were referred to as the French sound. What is the French sound? When you see on paintings and ladies painting, and that there was an emotional exchange and a human exchange, and both of the makers aspired for perfecting to be able to convey emotional experiences through engineering. And and they were known to be the best pianists in the world.
Yes.
And so here's what nobody knows. Let's say for Steinway, 1882, I worked on a concert ground that we put into Carnegie Hall, a Rosewood, 1882, and probably the best piano I ever encountered.
Mm-hmm.
I hardly had to work on tone, and it was singing. Also, it was corresponding to the acoustics of the hall, which is, I remember I was at the rehearsal, and I was looking at the big hall, and I was looking at the sound like this, that you could actually follow
how the sound was behaving in the hall.
Yeah, you could, and I never ever experienced that. That was something that was very special.
That's a tricky acoustic, by the way, for those people who've never been or saw any videos of Carnegie Hall. It's not the most comfortable acoustic, and acoustics are always difficult when there are big spaces. It's always very, very difficult to find a proper space for the piano, to find a piano that carries the sound all the way from the small place where the piano is to fill the entire hall equally everywhere, and that rarely happens.
But here I need to correct something, because Carnegie Hall should have never opened. Because if you think 1882, after 200 years of research by the biggest brains, the biggest, most famous acoustical engineers and so on, they concluded that this is good. What size of concert hall were around? when they said we made it.
It was in
Four,
the
500.
late 1800s, no? When Carnegie Hall was opened.
Yeah, I will get to it. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in 1880, when they said we've done it,
Yes.
before Carnegie Hall, it was the piano maker, Salle Pleyel, Salle Erard, and
What nowadays would be
Steinway
called the
Hall.
recital halls.
So what everybody had in mind, 400 or 500 people. So that means they maximize the capacity of a forte piano in 200 years to fulfill the requirement of the pianist and the audience in 400 or 500 people maximum. So this is 1882. We made it. 1891.
That's when they opened, right?
Yeah. And so if you think 200 years, it was so important that there were no compromise made for 200 years, to the point that there were 300 piano makers, the smallest piano, they all agreed to build this 6 foot. Because they knew as soon as they went below 6 foot, the acoustics were not correct.
Which for
And
those who use the
300
metric system is like a B, no? Steinway B, 6 foot?
Smaller than an
It's
A.
smaller than
Not
an A.
smaller than an A.
Not A smaller.
Everybody did 6 foot, 180, I think.
180?
Yeah, and that was that was musical. There were no other pianos, and for 50 years. So if they would have thought of profit, they would have built smaller pianos, but they didn't, because it was so important. So if you think of this commitment by intelligent people, and it's beneath the dignity of a human being to make a 510 because it doesn't work, then you have a concert grant for 400 or 500 people, and then you put it into the music industry without talking to the people who built it, and then so it's still there, a 9 foot Steinway in Carnegie Hall, and then.
Which, by the way, to put it in perspective, he said the 200 years of pianoforte. The first ever pianoforte, what the history says, it doesn't look like a pianoforte, but it looks similar enough.
Yeah.
Which is Cristofori's piano from 1700. Yeah.
Yeah, 1700.
Yeah, 1700. Exactly.
And it's in the Metropolitan.
It is in the Metropolitan. That's true.
Yeah.
That's same piano. So it's 1700. Exactly that date. And the period of evolution, let's call it this way, until 1882. So that's 182 years.
Yes.
Maybe a bit before, because he was researching before. And
yeah, but it was very
short.
No, that was NASA. At that time, that was NASA. That was the most important thing,
Yes.
and so it was very exciting. But what everybody forget, what is the actual product? Forget the piano for a minute. It is the sound, because the sound is the one that the pianist can relate to, and convey their idea of the world through sound wave, through their feelings, but place their feeling on sound wave that enters into the audience. And if the sound wave is such that it yields the heart, then this communication takes place. So the pianist also has to be inspired, and that happens with sound wave. But as a professional, that either you play the piano because you don't trust it, or you accompany the piano and explore the heights, how far you can go. So anyway, so there is a big dilemma, because then the piano makers had to withdraw their perfect instrument and modify. Because it was perfect, you cannot make it more perfect. So you take something away in order to gain something else. So the lyrical quality is out the window, because in such a big space, and they went for power. And I'm not going to go into how they choose the, thicken the soundboard, higher string, and then lyrical qualities have no chance.
So we will go further into that bit later, a bit more into what that means exactly too, because this kind of thing should be taught in the first year of university. Someone should be giving lectures to all students about exactly what he has just said, which I just learned from him, which is very interesting. But pianists are not really focused on sound anymore. They are just focused on their own physical problems with the piano. They do not try to find creative solutions or logical solutions for problems that just exist because they are not listening to what's happening on the piano. Yeah. It's really logical. If you do something to the piano, to a good piano, let's put it this way, the piano responds to you in a very predictive manner.
Yeah, that's true.
It should be predictive. And pianists nowadays just focus on really abstract things of what they want to do and nothing really concrete or logical.
The fundamental is missing.
Yeah, completely.
Then if you don't have a fundamental, how can you build anything if you don't have a brick? How can you build a house? You can have big dreams, but you need a brick. There are very few things humanity have achieved that can transform humanity. Mm-hmm. Very few. And piano, with the 200-year research, is an object that can do this, can do good to humanity in a way that when people go home, they are different, they are better, they are more sensitive, and they will be a better person next day. So that's where I feel whatever happened is a crime against humanity, and I'm sincerely meaning this. And what I feel is that the pianists, if they would have taken the time early on, mm-hmm. and like in the time of Liszt, everybody sent him the latest piano. The piano makers were like this, and Liszt was the king. That should have not, that stature should not have gone down. Mm-hmm. And because the pianist should have been the protector of the integrity of the lyrical sound of an acoustical piano. They should have been the protector. And since now they are at the mercy of the makers at this point, and also it's so, because of the last 100 years is so hundreds of thousands of pianos that, so they are so lost, and because it's so hopeless to have a piano that is an extension of you. Mm-hmm. Then the teachers teach now for generation students to adopt.
Yeah, which is
if the shoe is too small, adopt.
Yeah.
If it's too adopt.
Chop off one finger. I don't know how to adopt.
This is very, very sad, because then what happens is a pianist is somebody who gives their life a dedication to something that is driven from inside. They do that. And there is no compromise, because then they wouldn't be in that field. There is no compromise.
There shouldn't be.
Then they go on stage, and there is the home piano, the house piano. And it's not up to their standard in a way that they won't be able to convey the treasure that they have acquired. They should have refused to play. They should have had the right, thank you for coming. I'm unable to share with you what I brought on this instrument, because it's too important what I brought. It's very important. If I put it on this one, it will be, I will fake the concert. I will smile, I will play the notes, and you will be able to talk and all that, but you will not go on with the sprouted seed.
If we would make, I'm just thinking about this, if we would make a small trial for anyone who is listening now, or anyone who loves to go to concerts, if you would make a trial standing in front of a piano that is not ready to be called a piano, and a piano who is ready to some standards, let's put it this way, some standards that allow the pianist to use the piano as an instrument and not as a source of anger or frustration. If you see the difference in real life, not only physical in the terms of sound, the acoustical, physical difference that you can perceive, but also psychological. The whole place changes. It's completely amazing. Yeah. If that would be done in real life, even those who have never listened to a piano concert would tell the difference. It's actually extremely obvious.
Yes.
But Somehow that doesn't exist also.
Let's go back in time, the beginning of humanity, because in all the eras that humanity is, there is only one question: who are we? Why were we born? I mean, in every era, this is the only question, and then if one has the answer, then there is contentment, happiness, acceptance, and there is a joy, like a child has a joy born with the child. So once we understand what life is and what's our place in life, my life, there is this acceptance of this life, and then that comes with joy. So not happiness, it comes with joy. So, but because it's a challenging question, and no generations couldn't answer it, in the very, very early time there were the shaman, shaman.
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 I think it's the same in every language.
Yes. It's thousands of years of tradition. Who were the shamans? Shaman is a musician, the first musician on the drum. Because what did they do on the drum? They told a story. So they had a special place in society where they could connect the heavens and earth. And when they did that, they conveyed the missing link that humanity is looking for. Why? So even today is still practiced. I mean, if it was not correct, but even in Greece, when there was the amphitheater, the temple was so the temple next to the temple was the amphitheater built, and all the healing, herb healing, and spiritual teaching, and all the epos were written. Epos, no? The stories, the great stories, to uplift the people. It was their job.
Even the word music, which comes from Greek musike, didn't mean just music by itself as we understand it today. The root of that word, the etymological root back in Greece, was a much more holistic art. It was just that connection between the transcendent, a link between what is important for all humans and humans themselves. That was music. Music, not in the sense of sound or organized sound coming from an instrument. That's not the original meaning. Nowadays, though, well, we change the meaning of everything.
Yeah.
But, as he said, in Greek times, the same idea.
So because what was the word you said? It was transcendence.
Transcendence, yeah.
Because it was important, it had a value, it was visible, and if it was not there, they knew the consequence. No, this is forgotten, and because that is forgotten, imagine all that is out of our societies. You need values. So if that's not there, then what are the next values? The next values are basically survival, which is the very animal-like, because there's nothing left.
Yeah.
But since we use our intelligence, we made a very sophisticated animal survival that we have shopping malls and we have food, we don't have to worry, and reproduction. And this is what humanity have achieved until today. Because that disappeared, the value of that disappeared from the everyday. But I mean, India, it's 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 continuous, probably the only one on earth. But I was out, and in Varanasi is the most sacred place.
Varanasi.
Millions actually come in to take a bath in the Ganges, and then you will have a rich family lady and a poor in the same sari, like the god is. It's cheaper but dignified. And in the same river bank, everybody puts down their daily responsibilities, and they go and do, and you should see those eyes understanding life, understanding. So this is also disappearing from there, but this is a very how to say. It's very crucial for humanity to give value to it again. We don't have to find it, we have it, but to give value. And that's why whose job should have been, so let's say you are a baby musician to be. It's coming from inside. Then you see examples and inspiration, and then you go in the direction. And then they will point you to a school. And then it says music school. And then the question, what is music school? What is music?
Yep.
And until now, for fun, I always ask everybody, and nobody knows the answer. So why would you go to a school that you don't know what the heck they teach? You know, if it's astronomy, it's like, Daddy, I love the moon and the stars. Okay, astronomy school.
Yeah.
So the kid, why do you go to astronomy school? I love the movement. Okay, that's simple. Why do you go to, why music? What is music? I don't know.
There is a circular definition. Everyone who says, why do you love music? Because I love music.
No.
It's always circular.
The problem, the problem, the music has a key. Nature, everything we know is in circular motion. Mm-hmm. It recycles itself, everything that we know. It's quite automatic. No?
Yes.
But we as humans, we as a human body, and you know, we are obliged, we are governed by this law. Mm-hmm. But what's inside us is not, how to say, it's not recycling. It likes to be free. Mm-hmm. So this is the dilemma. So those who forget to be free, they follow the circular motion of everything that is, and it fools everybody because it's different every day. Mm-hmm. It looks, I will not be getting, and not be, but you know, when they are 90, they will finish the circle, and they are at the same place where they started, because it gives itself. So the only way out of this, one as a human being has to jump out of the gravity and all that, obey it, but one element of a human being has to jump out, and that's all the techniques, and music can do that. A good music, mm-hmm. With a good artist, good music would loan a vehicle for those who don't know how to drive, and they forget themselves and they find themselves out of this. And that's why every concert ends in silence. Not in encore, in silence. And there is this, the better the concert, the longer the silence. And that's the moment when everybody is one. And there is no circular motion in that moment. There is no time. There is no time. And no limitation. And so that's what, how to say, the intellectualization of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You cut? Then make it again. You can continue. It's okay.
So maybe to go along this line, what's the highest thing a human being can do? Which is jumping out of this circle. That's the highest and the most difficult thing and the most rewarding thing to do this. Mm-hmm. And because we don't hear very much of them, that's how difficult it is, because it's so tempting to chew another banana and then go there and then it's so beautiful. So and then one has to be mature enough to say, "Boy, it's like yesterday." And then the one who knows it's just like yesterday, is not in time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm so upset and passionate about piano, because piano could do this for the others. But then it has to be engineered in a way that at least the sound wave can fool the mind and talk to the living organism. And whether you like it, very much like when you walk on the beach and you are angry, and then you just 10, 15 minutes later, you don't even remember you are.
Yeah, or why.
Yes. So sound has that ability, and the intention of an artist who knows what they do, meaning that it worked for me, there's a place out of, and so why don't you come along with the journey? It requires that from an artist. And that's where I say that, and for me an artist is a protector of the integrity of this science, and therefore a very big responsibility. And so therefore a music school should not be a school that we forget to look very far, and now this is the horizon. What you mentioned, to bring back what was the true purpose of this.
Yes.
So because the students, they can relate to it, they long for it. Only the hardened old ones that were not lucky enough to be introduced. So, jokingly, just to give the Dean of Liszt Academy is a good friend.
Yes. Liszt Academy in Budapest.
In Budapest.
For those who don't know.
And was his birthday anniversary, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And he was contemplating how to celebrate this. And I asked him, so was he an abbé? He said, yeah, the priest. So I said, the most important thing in a priest's life is whether he meets God or not. And they do with prayer, with chant, with this or that. But Liszt, being an abbé, he sang. He sang to God. But the door didn't open, so he would not repeat the same tomorrow, because he tried another. And he tried a lot. And he didn't think they were useful for anything, because they didn't do the most important.
Which, by the way, Liszt never became an actual priest. He never took priesthood. He behaved like a priest.
Wasn't he abbé? What is abbé? Is a priest?
He never took the vows to be an actual priest, but he behaved like one. And because he was not interested in any dogmatic truths about, he was just interested in how to, as you said, how to knock at the door and have someone respond from the other side.
Yes,
and that's the whole of his music in the last 20 years.
Mystery of life and death, and to give good answers for finally. And then I told the dean that now everybody went and picked up his compositions that he threw in the garbage, and he took them out, and that became, they put it on his throne as the goal, and now we have academic teachers who teach what was in the music and the execution of what they thought. But there is nobody nobody goes above that. He was praying. He wanted, so he was always aspiring. And for a musician, if you don't have the aspiration every day, then you don't sit to practice, no?
And that's also why I actually hate the thought that is commonly known nowadays of Liszt as a virtuoso man, as a man of ladies. That's how he was known. But that was only 1/3 of his life. And that was not the moment when he produced his best works. He didn't produce them in that period that made him famous. That fame allowed him to produce what we nowadays study, which are, all the pieces starting from the B minor sonata, a little bit before maybe, from the 1850s. He was already in his 40s. After his 40s, he started to really compose music that made him who he is nowadays. But everyone remembers him for the part where he was actually ashamed of himself later on. So it's actually very, very interesting.
It's a Hungarian dilemma.
Yes. By the way, Liszt was not Hungarian. Sorry.
No,
He was Hungarian in soul, of course. But
no, that was changed later.
yeah, he added the Z in his name. He was Liszt.
Yeah.
His last name, it's very funny. It's very funny. If you actually read any biography, even go to Wikipedia, you will find this information. It's actually quite funny. But he loved the Huns and he loved Hungary. You can see that in his works too. He dedicated, 1/4 to Hungarian music of his whole output of music. He loved Hungary.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's quite interesting because it happens every time when I have a sort of pathway to discover what the guest wants to say or what they are, basically. Have many questions in this template, but it happens many times that the person already went through all of them if they get inspired with the first 3 or 4. And very interesting. I don't have to go over things that are already clear, such as for example, I am always I'm always interested to find out what impact have schools had on any subject, on any matter on any matter of human endeavors, anything, because they are a big part. Schools are a big part on how the society grows up to be. A big part, no, it's probably the most important thing. Parents are also a very important source of information for the kids. That's another side of schooling that also happens at home. But I'm always very curious on what everyone thinks about what has been the role of schools in art in general, in music. I know you never went to musical school, but it doesn't matter. You can see the results.
No.
So, what do you think that particularly? We know abstractly what you think, but particularly, what do you think that the whole idea of a school is doing wrong? Because I don't think that schools are really trying to make us better humans, which is the whole point of a school from the beginning of human existence on Earth. A school was the place where humans were made aware of their capabilities, and they were made aware of things about the world that they were not aware of before, and they get a little help, a little nudge, a little support to understand it better, to be better humans, to know how our body works, or to know how simple things like sound works. Let's talk, we are musicians then. Then let's talk about sound, for example. What have schools done wrong in the past 50 to 100 years, which is when actual musical schools started, just 100 years, not longer. And they've definitely done something wrong. Something, I don't know what exactly, he might have an idea. But they've done something wrong because most of the musicians that I encounter do not think of, for example, sound, which is the most primitive material that we have to use to make music. They don't think of sound, and they don't learn of sound as a scientific matter. It's just blurring. So, what are they doing wrong?
No, is we have two types of intelligence, and one is the mind or the brain or the memory, and the intellect, which is it's a cutting tool, is to how to say, compare one thing to another, and this idea seemed to work, helped in survival. So everybody wanted to survive, and then they went in this direction. Let's survive better, and then let's teach this in a school. So over cultivating the mind or the brain, let's say the mind, with survival techniques, and that is basically informations, just informations, and so we are loaded with informations but no substance, and unfortunately even the languages became more and more primitive, because I don't want to say which one, but it is the most the language that's spread all over the world today is the easiest to learn and the easiest to lord over others, and so it's the easiest survival language. Business, I own this, and so the mind, the human mind is tailored to be a better survival. So if you learn these, you will be on the top and you will lord over others, and there is no time, there is more and more information, and there is no time to stop to think something is wrong, something is missing. For example, in India, for thousands of years, the kids were given in the village to I don't know, probably from 12 to 18. And they would be working and helping, and they would learn all the dance, martial arts, all this that you need for life. Most importantly, they learn that they identify with the universe. So it takes this many years because we have a capacity to identify with or touch ourselves with something, and identify. So it takes us many years that they think of the universe. They are the universe. They said that they are the universe. Now the Western mind, with this the strongest, whatever, the fittest, or be on the top, and so the mind identifies with the body, and then this relationship creates a person. An ego, but not in a bad sense. It's a character that doesn't really exist. It's a bunch of ideas, and he's desperately afraid because when all the knowledge is paying attention to the physical body, then it knows that it's mortal, and it lives in fear all the time that this is going to go. And so we have a culture of fear of death and also lord over others. And that you see in countries or people. And then it's very difficult to take a person that is self-focused to invite him to include the universe. That's where you feel good, because you depend on the air, you depend on the space, you depend on the whole thing. How can you claim that you are somebody and you know what's going on? Only if you limit it, then you know what's going on in this limited. And then if the other one is a little more, then we make this, but potentially all this is useless, because this should be just a helping tool. Like for example, when I work on a piano and I am thinking of emotions or transcendence, I'm not using my intellect. I'm understanding, I identify with you. And then because my discipline is engineering, then I say, okay, we have to think about this. Oh, what about this? What about this? And then we conclude a solution. But then I put it away, because then we again, now, does it fly or not? It's not. So this is a Western mistake, very big Western mistake. Innocent because it was fueled by a fear of survival. And then it never took how to say, when the survival was somewhat under control, never invited back music. Okay, we how to say, we are not afraid of the world anymore. We control the things. We have this. Okay, now why do we leave? Now okay, now you can come back. It's safe. Now that never happened. And then this like lording over other. So you need to be stronger. You need more weapons or more this or more clever. And then it becomes, when you say faster and faster, because there's nothing else to do, more and more, because there's nothing else to do. And it is. I was actually afraid when before the pandemic. I'm not talking, but I didn't have an answer for humanity. I always have, but I thought it's a train with no driver, and there's a cliff. And then this little bug comes and stops the train. That was so wonderful. It's not, I know people die, but it stopped the world. And many people changed in that the year, 2 years.
True.
And everybody looked equal, Nobody had a big mouse. And everybody was afraid of that. Wonderful. This was really, there's a new humanity. But that was just, but we going again full speed, and the answer will be, because the humanity's intelligence is increasing, so the longing for happiness is more obvious, and we don't depend on a king or. We are alone. I want to be happy, and then it could lead to millions of people say, okay, now let's sort this out. Whatever we learned in the past is not going right. Let me figure this out. So what I mentioned before, it could do it very. Hopefully, in the next 50 years, there could be a big transformation in human consciousness. Because it's unbearable now. I mean, this is. And it's going.
But my point, very, very concrete, is that the schools are doing. They seem to be doing something wrong because they are not creating a new generation of more fulfilled people, more even. Let's say, I don't want to say anything in particular over anyone in concrete, of course, but. Even in intelligence, people have less memory, people have less attention spans for anything. They cannot look, listen, or do something for more than 1 minute, 2 minutes in a row without having their attention somewhere else. And that particular thing is a problem.
It's a big one.
Yeah, people who cannot think or look or listen at something for more than with full attention. Full attention means your whole being is conscious of what's happening.
When you look at an animal in a forest, you look at a cat. The fur.
Yeah, the fur.
His fur is at stake.
Yeah.
His fur. So if he makes a wrong decision, a dog will take care of it. Or the squirrel. They want to go on adventure. They are not, they do the thing they do, but also super careful because they have only one fur. Now humanity can afford it because I have my brother, my uncle, my neighbor, I have a house, and so I can make a million mistakes that nature would not allow me to do so.
Yeah.
And then the feedback, it's a good path, and that this is a problem, a very big problem. The comfort, the modern, so it should be convenience. It should be saying, okay, now you don't have to worry about this. Okay, look inside, get inspired by life. Love this and create this, and and help life unfold, and you will have a fulfilled life also, without knowing what you did. Just so.
Do you know who might be your favorite pianist from the past? And favorite in any sense that attracted you for something?
Is Richard Good.
Richard Good?
Yes, because he's more family for me. He spent so much time at Klavierhaus, and he even declared himself artist in residence. And
declared himself.
And then sometimes when we had to leave, he was there practicing, and if customers came in, he would show pianos around, and
That's great.
the kid would get a master class without knowing.
Sometimes without knowing who was even giving the master class to the kid. For those who don't know who Richard Good is, please go online. The last name is Goode. He might not be very well known in Europe, but some of the most wonderful recordings of Beethoven sonatas or of some impressionistic music, my God, it's his recordings. What a wonderful guy. And I only had the chance to meet him very, very shortly. I didn't even get to have a proper conversation with him. So maybe in the future, who knows? Yeah. I think you said it before, but still, I want to hear it again. What's the best piano you've ever seen?
Well, the one that was 1882, that's Rosewood. It surprised me because when we put it together, assembled it, I didn't have to work on it. And then the other one is the piano we have, the Bakar, we call it.
The Bakar, yeah.
And on that ship toured with it, it has a dark lyrical quality. And since Andras used the word lyrical, then that became our flagship motto, and we make our instruments lyrical. So these are the two.
You know, that piano that he just mentioned is, actually, I'm sure that if any of you who are watching want to ever pass by 11th Avenue and West 54th Street in New York City, I am actually sure that they will be welcome to come.
Oh yeah.
I am completely sure. So if anyone wants to actually see the actual instrument, it's there 24/7. There are no people inside 24/7, so make sure there is someone inside. But I know the piano very well. I know what he means. Every time I ask this question, I always respond something different. And I have to say, the piano that surprised me the most, maybe it was not the best piano in that particular state, in that moment when I tried it, but I saw a potential that made me almost cry. It was a wonderful experience. And I played on it 5 minutes. I have no necessity for more. 5 minutes is enough.
True.
And I was with him, actually. And it's the Centennial piano. The Centennial piano, if you remember, we were in New Jersey together. I don't know what to say about that piano. It just made me cry, you know. The sound kept going on and on and on the soundboard. You know, you felt the piano was not only vibrating in the sense that it's moving on you, but it was, how to say, it was a harmonious vibration.
Yeah.
The instrument was happy, vibrating. It was more comfortable by being in sound than being in resting position, which is very interesting. All instruments, even when you look at pianos, they look like there is so much effort that needs to be put into the piano to make them even sound.
Yeah.
That piano was the opposite. It called me from outside, and when I placed the first note, I understood that piano was much, let's put it this way, happier, or much more. It became a piano when I played it, and it was not a piano before, just when I was playing. So that's mine. That's mine.
Yeah.
If you have any.
Yeah.
what is the composer that I always say closest to your heart, but what is the composer that makes you not think when you are listening to it? If you have any.
No. I don't have any, because the measuring stick for me is here, and that means there is happiness first moment on, same place everybody at the beginning, and transformation of humanity. In 200 years, there should have been a big transformation of humanity if the bar was reached. So, like you mentioned, that emotions are not really the goal, we have to go beyond.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they can elevate, engage different mechanisms in the body, and then have some transcendence after. But then, like I told you, after you are done a great concert, was it taught how to go from here on to the goal? Because you just got to a place. Now you are free from everything else. The road is clear. Are you seasoned? Are you daring to go? And the goal is also clear. Now that didn't happen, and none of the composers have done it. None of them. You know how to say, it has to be that simple, like if I put a pen in your hand and I say it's a pen and you can write with it, you test it, yes. So if you have a composer that does firework of emotions and excitement and fear, all is exploring the human psyche all over the place. But then when he did all that, exhausted everything, so no, we don't want this anymore. Then that's when you start. And had anyone became a Buddha, so I have no better to say. Okay, now, and now, and now, this is how we continue, and that never happened. So, and the proof is that the world have not changed. And you say you're the students and everything. If it had a reality, power, you could have bad education. It would not.
But music is a tool.
But I'm just saying, if it's a living thing, and nothing could destroy. I mean, you have fire, no? You have fire in you. So, and that fire, and you can tell who doesn't have fire. And so, how can we do this? Have fire? I don't know. So that's why, I mean, I force myself to listen and everything, but it's unavoidable. I measure everybody and everything from the undisturbed silence or undisturbed timelessness, and I can see, I can act. I mean, I can do the human thing in that sense. But is it the contentment, the full contentment is not there. It's not there at all. It's not there at all. Like you said, I would, if I were a pianist and I have this deep understanding of life, profound, let's say, and I would come on the stage, dear friends, I'm starting from here. Allow me, I can't do this, but why don't we start from here? Now, is there more? Yeah, there is plenty more. Who knows the path? Now that's the question. Nobody knows the path because it's self-designed. It's made for that. I thought to get out from this question, I thought maybe Beethoven and you leave me alone. And then I
don't want a disingenuous answer, because
no, it's the truth, and now
I actually knew the answer already. So
yeah. And
do you have a favorite concert hall in the world? No. And when I say concert hall, I don't mean big or small. A place where you listen to music live.
No, because it takes so much energy and attention to great acoustics in a piano. It's a lot. And then, so if we are done paying attention to acoustics, then if I lift my head up, where is this thing going? That space has to reflect the science of the acoustics of the piano, and it's nowhere to be found at this point.
That is true. That is a fact.
Acoustic-wise, it's not. I was in Carnegie Hall, working on the stage, on the piano. Someone talked to me like 5 meters from me, I didn't hear them.
It's quite amazing, yeah.
No. So the answer, church would be the old church with wood, because you have it was designed. It was the sculptures and all that is to break up sound wave and all the wood. It creates a better, not the echo, but the quality of sound is enhanced.
And by the way, everyone might think that a small room is better in the sense of acoustics, but it's completely not. A small room or a big room, the quality of the sound that comes from the piano is all over the place. Once you are actually, once the sound came out from the piano, it's all over the place. And that applies, I think, almost to 100% of the places where I've ever been.
Yeah.
Almost. I found wonderful places on Earth where someone actually worked very well on acoustics. But what is it, 4 or 5 so far? It's very few of them. So yeah, I also understand it.
Just a simple, in Greece, the amphitheater, 30,000 people, no microphone, poetry. They designed it in a way that the sound was developing. Now you go to a major hall here, you sit, and the stage is like a meter above your head. Then you have the piano legs and the lid. So the sound wave that should hit your ear is probably 3-4 meters over your head. And then people applaud that. So this idea that to raise the stage is a society to separate from the audience.
Yeah, the important thing is not the sound, it's a hierarchical structure.
Yes.
Also, why there is a main floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor. It's also hierarchical.
But
it's not really.
In Greece, they knew how to, because it was important to get the message to the people. So, and that was tens of thousands of people. So
anyone who can do this, you can even do that. For example, in some places in the south of Spain, you can go to an actual Roman amphitheater, even a Roman amphitheater that takes the same ideas from Greeks. Is practically the same thing. You can stand in the middle because people allow you to just go and do whatever you want, being respectful, and check the sound. It's actually pretty amazing, They were able to do that back then, and nowadays the sound over most concert halls is just messed up. It's sad, but
so the
it's
answer
true.
is no.
He's right. Again, we might also not have any, which is completely fine. But what is the best live music performance you've ever attended?
None.
None. And he's listened to me. But I understand what he means.
No. I mean, if I'm interviewed and I have my standards, so I'm not.
No, we need his standards, not my standards.
No, standard meaning my way of thinking, and unfortunately, the classical world, classical music, or in general, it doesn't have the goal of transcendence, doesn't have it, and therefore it cannot do it. You are very different because you were born with the understanding and longing of transcendence, and but right, the problem for me with the live concerts, because you mentioned they are all the sleepy people, all the people who do not go on, and that is for me catastrophic. So the organized environment, which is, let's say, if you go to I don't want to say, if you go to a worship or something,
Uh-huh.
you want to.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to sound religious anyway, but it's an activity that you want to. So I actually wanted to come up with a new new way of concertizing at Klavierhaus, which is 6 months prior to the program. The artists will write what they should know and what you go through, and they have to study and be ready and understand that they are the one receiving. They are not coming there because they paid for it and they deserve it. They want this. Because if there is this understanding and this is the path, there will be so much receptivity, and they will also engage much further. So this would make so much sense.
Sounds like a new idea. I'm completely behind it. Maybe 6 months. Well, the more time there is, the better for the audience and the better for the whole setup of a concert to make it meaningful in any possible way meaningful. Yeah, the recepting part, which is the audience, has to be at least close enough to the producer of the sound and the composer to all know what we are talking about, because the music itself has no value unless we actually understand what we are listening to. It really has no value. It's just a bunch of sounds.
They have to understand that there is something they need. They
Yes.
have to. They are lacking something that you are able to provide, and they are lucky that they can come and get it. That's very important. That is identifying. You came like this. You went home like this all the time. What is it that you got? You want this? Yes. What is it? I'm elevated, inspired, better person, and I'm getting it. So, prepare yourself to be more receptive. Absolutely, it's a must.
Someone with a notepad at home, I think you're feeling.
It's a must, and to be honest, that I don't know. He knows I don't know, and there is a humility.
Well, Sujatri, thank you so much for your words today. I hope this can be something that everyone who is listening today, this is something that they can come back again and again, because it takes time to assimilate all the things that we are expressing or thinking about. So, well, for that, for many other things personally, I say thank you to him. And we say goodbye with this wonderful backdrop of the New York skyline. I love this place. I love just looking out when I am a little bit under the weather. I'm practicing, and you look there, everything goes away. So, thank you, Sujatri.
No,
thank you for everything.
I thank you, and I think it's a wonderful series. I think that when you open the door to the people and artists that you will approach, to be frank and honest and explore their honest way of thinking, I think it will speak to many people who might be confused and also afraid to speak frankly. And I think good luck to this project.
Thank you, Sujatri.
And
Honesty.
thank you for the honor.
Honesty. That's the
Honesty.
motto of what we are doing.
Yes.
So, thank you, Sujatri. Bye.